And we're back with another episode of a Lakers Snack Pack from the Lakers Fast Break podcast. It's a snack pack, everyone. Gerald Glassford, come right back at you here from the Lakers Fast Break. Pop Culture Cosmos, where we cover the latest news and trends in pop culture each and every week, twice a week, wherever you get your podcasts. I put on my conversation with Caleb Ponce on the NBA observations, which you can catch now here, was so good. I thought I would also put it on the Pop Culture Cosmos. So everybody that catches it out on syndicated radio for the stations that I send it out to are catching the latest Pop Culture Cosmos with my conversation with Caleb Ponce, which you can catch now on this channel, which is now available for everyone right there at NBA Observations, where we talk about the All-Star game, the second half of the season, and more. It was a really good conversation with me and Caleb Ponce, as always. So please go ahead and check it out, the Pop Culture Cosmos, or on the Lakers Fast Break right here on YouTube. And also, as well, you can catch it on Apple Podcasts and Spotify as well. So hopefully everyone is doing well out there. Truly appreciate you doing as far as stopping by with me right here at the Lakers Fast Break. Look what I got on here, guys. Of course, I got my pillow. Of course, I got my canvas art from a good friend at Drip Show Shop on Instagram and Twitter. But you know what? I got to go ahead and flaunt the merchandise as only I can do with the Lakers Lovers t-shirt right here that you can get as well at Drip Show Shop on Instagram and Twitter. Right there, JSJ. Absolutely. Hey, Drip Show sends you stuff. He says, yeah, there you go. Just spread the good word. I'm trying to spread the good word right there with at Drip Show Shop on Instagram and Twitter. Not sure if the Lakerholics crew, Lakerholics.com, they wanted to take a week off. I'll send the message to them again here in a little bit. If they want to go ahead and do another show, hopefully they will, but go ahead and check out them at Lakerholics.com. John Costa cannot be here today. He said he is dominating his semifinal game against in his adult league. So we are facing the only other team in our conference that is undefeated besides us. So he cannot make it tonight. So I told him he needs to do a windmill slam since he can't make it tonight. But go ahead and catch what he's doing today at Lakers Corner right there, wherever you get your podcasts. JSJ says, hey, Gerald, what has happened to the WWE? Well, they've got more expensive and less creative. And that's not a great combination, but that leads to less sales for WrestleMania. So again, you reap what you sow, JSJ, oftentimes in our society and life. You reap what you sow, and the WWE, which had everybody's flavor and which everybody seemed to love, at the right times for them when they made their TV deals, suddenly not hitting on all cylinders and hitting all those buttons right now. And, you know, Triple H is going to have to find different buttons to push right there for you as far as that's concerned. So great to have you here. It is, of course, the Lakers Fast Break. It is a snack pack. I expect Joe, or not expect Joe, but I'm thinking Joe will be here. He said he would be here. I send these guys a link, so hopefully they will join us. Legend hopefully will join us as well. DBSH, Daniel Barry Sports Highlights. Yo, go ahead and check out what DBSH is doing. He's on the drive to 20,000 subscribers. I'm envious. I'm jealous of his subscriber success. So go ahead and support him even more to make me even more jealous. Well, hopefully you're liking, subscribing to me as well, but make me more jealous by subscribing to his channel as well, right there for you. So as he gets to 20,000 subscribers, so he is on his way. I just like to get to three for now. We had this big plans that we would be, oh yeah, we'd be at 10,000 by now, 20,000 by now. I just want to get to three. Three sounds good. I'm at 2,600, so I guess that ain't bad. So I'm appreciative of everybody that stops on by. We have a higher retention than a lot of other channels as far as the people that watch. So I'm eternally grateful for that indeed. Jeremy, what's going on? Good to see you as well. Jeremy, I hope you're checking out my Lakers latest shows that I do for the Fan Arc Network. I post it in the notes every single day. So you guys don't have to go where is the Lakers latest. I know you've been talking about it, Gerald, this Lakers latest, this 15 to 30-minute show that you do each and every day on the Fan Arc Network about the Lakers. It's strictly about the Lakers and the NBA. Where is it? So you know what? I put it in the notes. For the notes on this channel, I give you the link. I make it easy so you can click and boom. There you go. Indeed. DBSH, truly appreciate that. Yo, he says, yo, go Lakers as far as of course, what's going on with him right there. Coach, we're getting closer and closer on Friday to what's going on with the Lakers and the Clippers coming up for the second part of the season. Eric Kwan says a conversation really sounds like a bad soap opera. Are you talking about WWE? Hope you are. But I had a good conversation with Caleb Ponce on the NBA All-Star Game and the NBA and all the stuff that's going on. So yeah, go ahead and hit me up on some NBA observations that's right now available. You can watch it after the show right here on this channel as well. That was a really good conversation that I had indeed. But it is the Lakers. Speaking of conversations, I wanted to go ahead and bring up today's show before we get into what may need to be done for the second part of the season, because there have been some interesting conversations that has been made as far as is concerned. Jeremy said, Jerry, do you think Kawhi deserved the MVP over Ant-Man? I think, to be honest with you, I think that Wembanyama deserved it over everyone. Nobody was going to play hard in that game until Wembanyama played hard. Wembanyama played hard right from the get-go. Wembanyama deserves the MVP. I know his team lost twice, but he deserves the MVP in my estimation. Kawhi, no, because he had the great one game and he had the terrible next game. So I guess Ant-Man was a little bit more consistent, for lack of a better term, but my MVP, as if you hear in more detail on the NBA observations I did with Caleb Ponce, was Victor Wembanyama. Victor Wembanyama made the All-Star game. Victor Wembanyama may have saved the All-Star game. But if you watch, and I think, Jeremy, you already did the NBA observations, you'll hear my entire reasoning on that. But yeah, I think that Victor Wembanyama deserved the MVP. JSJ says reports sound like Rob is saying, I hope not. Well, again, I'm just going to say this, and thanks again for the super chat. Truly appreciate it, as always, DBSH. There was a conversation, speaking of which, that was recorded on CNBC recorded an interview with Jeanie Buss. I think it was done on Friday. It was the day after LeBron had his triple double. So wanted to go ahead and talk to you guys about it, hear your thoughts on it as far as it's concerned. I know I said it already my piece quite a bit on Lakers latest, but I wanted to go ahead and elaborate in more detail. And I also wanted to get Joe and hopefully Legend's thoughts as well on what's going on with it. But wanted to start off with, she was obviously there to do something else. She was there to pitch her tequila. By the way, it's Cincoro, which is a sponsor of the Los Angeles Lakers, the Cincoro tequila. I guess they've got themselves a special edition Lakers bottle that you can get your hands on. But yeah, Cincoro. She's talked about starting it up with other individuals. I guess well financed individuals, including Michael Jordan, and talked about him in detail about what he's like in the boardroom and how they need to go after the other tequila brands and whatnot. So again, if you're interested in that, she did have a good conversation on that part of it. But yes, she was there to pitch her brand of tequila. But in doing so, obviously the questions veered off into more interesting subjects. On selling the team, she said, quote, my siblings were involved in the decision that was made. It's about the Lakers and the greatness and what the fans expect. And you need resources and you need a direction. And I think it's fair to say that my family, we all have our different opinions and are living out our lives, choosing what we want to do with our time. And this was the best decision for all six of us. And that's nice. That was a nice way to say that they have a lot of family strife. They can't get along. They can't decide on anything. And maybe selling the family business off for a $10 billion valuation is the best thing that you could do. And that was great. That was great. Jeremy says, such a drama-filled all-star weekend, Jerry, with the KD stuff really was messy. What was your take on his burner account comments? It's KD and his burner account comments. Again, will he be fined? Will he be suspended? We'll have to wait and see. I don't know how the league is going to be able to pursue that, but it did. This was not as drama filled. Also, I kind of disagree with you, Jeremy. I don't think this weekend was not very much drama filled outside of that. I really think that this was a quiet weekend. It was a successful weekend for the All Stars. The All Star game format was widely well received. The viewership was up, even though here in the West Coast it was in the middle of the afternoon, and the Daytona 500 for me was still ending. That's just the best part of the Daytona 500 because you want to see who crashes into who and who wins. But yeah, I mean, for I think it was a pretty much a laid back type of weekend. And again, it seemed like it was for the most part was successful. Everybody hates the slam dunk competition because nobody that's famous that wants to be in it anymore. But the everybody seemed to like the fact that Damian Lillard shot well from three, and they liked the fact that he won it. But they didn't like the fact that Adam Silver had some evasive comments on Kawhi and expansion, which is yet to come on the decision on those two. But Best League says he thought the All Star format was great. It's getting widely well received, so I don't think it was drama filled. If you're talking about KD's burner account, I mean, KD's burner account is again for most people they didn't really care. It wasn't really that much of way of news, Jeremy. But I have to say, I would probably say that it was actually a positive weekend that was sorely needed for the continuance of the All Star weekend because I was done with the All Star weekend going into it and thought maybe they should start thinking about canceling the All Star weekend and just taking a week off, period. But with this and Victor Wembanyama's willingness to really play and compete at a higher level, maybe not at of course a big game level, mind you, but he was still competing out there and it caused the other players to compete as well. But yeah, the burner account with KD is something he's been doing now for years. So I don't feel it was not that drama filled at all. I think it was actually a positive and good weekend for the NBA, which is something they sorely needed. Again, at Tripsha Shop on Instagram and Twitter right here for you. Wanted to go ahead and make mention the canvas art right behind me. Got the Kobe pillow right over there. And of course, the shirt I have on now is all because of Drip Show at Drip Show Shop on Instagram and Twitter. There you go. Absolutely. All right, you guys. Enough of the feuding between the Lakers and Clippers. I don't know. I don't care where you guys. You guys are allowed to go anywhere you want when you leave this chat. It is good by me. I don't care where you go. You know what? If you find each other on other platforms, other teams, I don't care. I don't care. I'm just glad you're here. It's the Lakers fast break. Please, just there's no argument. Come on, just stay. There are bigger things in this world to get mad over than who is on who else's chat room and chat board and chat board. I do a lot of research sometimes, so you may find me on a Oklahoma City Thunder or a Boston Celtic or a Dallas Mavericks. You found me a lot on Dallas Mavericks chat boards looking at up there, as far as after the trade, because I needed to tell you guys how it was being received in Dallas and people just absolutely incensed and mad. But I can't go by paraphrasing. I have to go and investigate and look at this. So again, if you guys wherever you guys go after you leave this chat, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. I know DBSH will get, you guys just, just just move on. Just move on. AR Karina, what's going on? Says Jiro, what got you into broadcasting, hosting shows? Is there something you looked up to when you were a child teen? Well, be honest with you, I wanted to work in Hollywood and work in movies. And I did for a special effects company for a short amount of time. But I wanted to be on the front side of the camera, to be honest with you. But that never really panned out. Life took me into a different direction. But in 2008, 2009, excuse me, 2009, as far as my love for video games took me into the podcasting realm. I was like, somebody approached me about the subject. Let's do a podcast. I'm like, what the hell's a podcast? I don't know what the podcast is. What the hell's a podcast? And I'm like, okay. Uh, oh, that's what it is. Okay, and I got into it and did more did it, the more I enjoyed it, the more I like to express my opinion. I guess I'm very comfortable with the camera, very personable with the camera when I want to be, and so it doesn't bother me at all. So I just did more and more and more of it, and ever since then, it's been something I've been into. First audio recordings, and then it went into video, and it's just been something I've been doing for 17 years now, closing in on. So yeah, I just feel very blessed to actually even have an audience like you guys that support me like you do, Arcarita. But that was a great question. Who did I look up to when I was a child and a teen? That's a good question. Well, I'd probably say I looked up to, in the case of Lakers, I looked up to guys like Magic Johnson. I looked up to as far as like concerned when I was a teen, I was looking up and I wanted to achieve that level of success. When you're a Lakers fan, you want to achieve that level of success. And then it got into when I was a young adult and in my 20s, you looked up to what you were seeing with Shaq and Kobe and whatnot, and you wanted to do that even more and as far as strive for that kind of success. But I would probably say, as a Lakers fan related to Lakers fans, I would probably say Magic Johnson is who I wanted to relate as far as that level of success in life, to say achieving not just success on the basketball court, but what he was doing off the basketball court. Okay, business wise, how about that? Business wise, see what he was achieving off the basketball court. The lady stuff, as a teenager, that might have been the action might have been a little admirable as well. I'll just leave it at that. DBSH, okay, okay, enough. Come on, DBSH, come on, let it go, let it go. Let's keep things light here, guys. Okay, if they love the Clippers, they love the Clippers. That is their prerogative, but I don't think that's the case. They wouldn't be here all these years if they like the Clippers. Why they're on the Clippers, that's up to them. That's their prerogative. I go to when I go to a Clippers account or a Clippers show or whatnot, as far as their chat room, I'm looking to see what the response is when they lose to the Lakers or how they feel about those, because there is an intense hatred, an intense jealousy that Clippers fans have for the Lakers. And I tell you guys a story that when I went to the Danny Manning draft, was there, uh, was there at the LA Sports Arena. I tell you the famous story that my friend and I, we got up and we were all dressed in Lakers stuff, Lakers gear, and we ate the free food at the LA Sports Arena and just laughed and laughed and laughed for 2 hours while they thought that Danny Manning was gonna be the second coming, for the Clippers, and just laughed and laughed and laughed right there while eating all their free food at the LA Sports Arena. So again, I just like to again, if you go to other places outside the chat room, it's okay. It's okay to do so. You don't have to just stay here or stay with the Lakers. If you have other choices and other places to go in life, it's okay. And here's a guy right here, for example, that I'm sure goes occasionally to chat boards, chat rooms, and fan sites and podcasts for the Atlanta Hawks and the Golden State Warriors. It is a good man indeed. It is, of course, my good friend, of course, who has a great channel. I got Next Sports Media. It is, of course, the man, the myth, the legend himself. Legend, what's going on, my friend? Haven't seen you in a few days. We've been nice and relaxed. Have you had some good time off during the All-Star break?
I definitely did. Streamed on my other channel, the channel I be in the chat most of the time with. Streamed on that one, play a little game, play a Ghost of Yote, and just hit over 1,000 on that channel. So can't complain. It's been a good week.
Congratulations,
My
my
gaming
friend.
channel has crossed over 1,000.
Well, you know what? And the guys, I now have new aspirations, new people I look up to. I want to look up to DBSH and the fact that he is closing in on 20,000 subscribers. I'm going to look up to that because I'm only on Legend and I are only on 2,600 and 1,000. But you know what? Again, we're thankful for that. But yes, one of these days we'll get to where you're at, my friend DBSH. But JY says, have Laker fans ever appreciated LeBron coming to the Lakers? That's a good question. That's a good question. Again, in fact, I will go ahead and ask that of all three of us. But Legend, from your perspective, Have Lakers fans ever appreciated LeBron coming in as Lakers? Because as you've seen, what I've seen, there is a big division between Lakers fans who have not accepted LeBron, no matter how, fact that he won the title seems irrelevant to sometimes when you talk to some certain individuals. And then there are others that say, yeah, it's just great that he put on the purple and gold.
I say it's probably what you just said is a little divided. There is a half of the fan base I do believe really appreciate all that he has given since he came to LA. I will always say I'm not a fan, but I will at least say man came and helped turn the franchise back around from what we went through. Because nobody in LA want to experience 13 through 18 again, and he did help come turn that around, which I gave him that complete shout out on that part. So I do think there's a part people who do appreciate it, but I do think there are parts who just never really felt them. I think there are some fan base who is more loyal to the Kobe side and they're just not gonna rock with LeBron. I understand that part. You think there's a good little fans who will never accept LeBron for no matter what he do, like you said, no matter what he do, he can go win ring number 2. Don't think he'll ever be that love. Nothing like Kobe, Kareem, Magic. He never had that type of love. So I think it's kind of divided. And I actually say I still see it today. I know some Laker fans, kids in 11th and 12th grade who were like, I will never support LeBron. This is how they are. They don't care if he play for their favorite thing. They wouldn't. And they said Kobe all the way. So this is how it is. I mean, nothing much he can do about that.
I hear you, my friend. Absolutely. Well said. I do want to note that your internet's going in and out. So you might need to pop in, pop back out, pop back in. I just wanted to give you a heads up, but you're not holding a good signal. I wanted to let you know on that. I don't know if you're downloading something or anything like that. As far as I'm concerned, it's just not holding a good signal by now. So I'm not sure if you want to pop in, pop out, pop in. Just wanted to give you a heads up on that. But also here today, good.
Pop out.
Yeah, appreciate it, my friend. We'll see you here in back in a second. But here is a good man indeed. Also, as well, of course, the guy behind Simblades, Simblades with a Y.com, and the Joe Soro experiment. He was on the other night talking the Dodgers and the Lakers. It is my good friend indeed, Mr. Joe Soro. Joe, good to have you back. I thought we'd do a little snack packing before the game on Friday. I wanted to go ahead and hear your thoughts on this before we get into the Jeanie comments, before we get into the LeBron comments. I wanted to go ahead and hear your thoughts on what JY was asking. Have Laker fans ever appreciated LeBron coming to the Lakers? And again, I prefaced it by saying I think that there is a division. There is a segment that, like with Luka, like we see with Luka, there are some people. Luka can just walk on water, Joe, and just does not impress them. There, as we see in our chat. Yeah, there's a lot of other people think that Luka is great, MVP candidate and a really big help for the Lakers going forward. Flashback to 2018 when he decided to go ahead and come here in free agency. There has been a segment, Joe, that really does not care at all that LeBron is on this team. And then there's a segment that has appreciated for what he's done during his time here. Your thoughts, my friend, about LeBron and the divisiveness about him donning the purple and gold.
LeBron James is the most polarizing great player I've ever seen in any sport. Barry Bonds for the longest time was number one. But Barry Bonds was just a world-class jerk. And me being a jerk myself, I could identify with that. So
I love how you just
it's different. It's different. It's it's slightly different in that LeBron James has an immaturity that's added to the persona that is not endearing. Social media era, probably adds to it. If you look back on the two players in Laker history that were, I call them transplants, much like LeBron was, right? I guess you could say Wilt was traded to LA, right? In
Yes.
'68. Okay.
Mhm.
Not necessarily a transplant, but sort of, not a Laker guy until then, right? Because Shaq came by choice. LeBron came by choice. And the reason why I wanted to use Wilt first was Wilt left a lot to be desired, unfortunately, in the 5 years he was in LA. He won a title. He won a finals MVP in '72. But when you look at the 1969 letdown, you realize that you realize just from listening to the story of what happened, especially in Game 7, when at that time head coach Butch Van Brendekoff did not put him back in when he had asked to come out due to a leg injury, and ended up costing the Lakers a championship. I don't know if it would have mattered. Maybe it would have. I don't know. But then you look at 1970, a year later, they lose again. They lose to the Knicks, and then they win in '72. There's nothing to be ashamed of the losing in '71 against the eventual champion and Kareem and Oscar. But I've said this for a few years. I think statistically will always be number one, but a 2-4 record in the finals is not a good indicator that this man was able to dominate when it really mattered.
Mhm.
And when it really mattered was not enough. There's when you're talking about all-time greats, there has to be some invincibility there. I'm not saying you have to be undefeated in the finals, but how you lose can dictate that. So we look at Tom Brady. I know I'm jumping all over the place, but I'm trying to make a point. Tom Brady lost 3 Super Bowls, right? Won 7 out of 10. But if you look at his 3 losses, all three of them, he performed, and all 3 of them, he was on the sidelines when they lost. So to speak. I mean, not technically, because he had like 10 seconds in Super Bowl 41 or 15 seconds, whatever it was. Point is, you had to beat Tom Brady without him on the field, really. 41 points for the Eagles. Tom Brady can't control that. Tyree's catch, Burrow's touchdown. Brady's not in there to stop that, right? He threw for 500 yards, for God's sakes, in that Super Bowl against Philly. So how you lose in those moments also can play a factor in how you judge that, right? So how this correlates with LeBron is you look at Wilt's, because I'm trying to put it into some kind of comparison so it makes sense. You look at Wilt Chamberlain's stint in LA. He lost 3 finals out of 4. We look at LeBron's time here. He's only won 1 in 8 years. If he had won 3 championships in 8 years, hell, maybe even 2, I actually don't think there'd be as much disdain against LeBron, even though a lot of it is warranted, because LeBron is and he's not the only one that's ever been selfish and great. I'm using Wilt as a huge example of his selfishness. The fact that he was affected by things like no one cheers for Goliath. I thought when I was a kid that made sense, right? When you're a kid, you're usually dumb. Not intelligent-wise, you're just not worldly, right? Yet. Life hasn't taught you real things. But when somebody says something like that, it's almost like they're setting up their future failures instead of going, I'm the best player in the world and I'm going to show it. And if you're mad that I'm big, and fast and better than all these people, well, I guess that's just how things came out. You think Michael Jordan apologized for being able to jump out of a building because his hands looked like freaking hammocks? No, I never heard him whine and complain that he had big hands and a vertical that can rival a kangaroo. Like there's nothing there. It's complete. Look, I'm going to own you because that's just the way it is. Kobe, to a certain extent, same thing. You know, Kobe may not have had the athleticism in the hands of Michael, but I always laughed at, oh, Kobe wasn't that athletic. I'm sitting here going, what the fuck are you talking about? I saw him dunk over a 7'5" Yao Ming in his prime. How is that not athletic? I saw him literally put his nuts on top of Dwight Howard's head in Orlando. You watch and it happened. So anyways, LeBron kind of had everything. He's a victim of the times. If LeBron was around during the Wilt era, it wouldn't be as bad. If LeBron was, and I'm going to use another example, 25 years later, Shaq. What would we be saying about Shaq between 97, 98, 99? When he was losing to Utah, when he was getting abused by Utah, when they were getting swept by the Spurs, we would probably be saying, because there was some hesitation with Shaq even back then. I have friends of mine that are Laker fans that didn't like Shaq because Shaq had that selfishness about him. I think it wouldn't be at LeBron level, but it would be. I think Shaq would have gotten much worse response due to social media. So LeBron is in my view much more narcissistic and self-absorbed than Shaq and Wilt. But I think a lot of that has to do with the fact of the generational differences. What we've done in the last 15 years or so, this generation and a half, I usually equate a generation every 10 years. That's how my brain looks, how my brain works with it. LeBron has been catered to and enabled to think in a selfish way because that's how society has tried to say, get yours, get yours, get yours. Even though people want to preach about, well, let's be together and let's have this movement and let's have this. And it's all bullshit. In the end, it's as soon as somebody says, well, I'm getting paid to do this, they're like, oh, well, as long as you get paid, right? Just stupid mentality. Because why do you think things have diluted so badly in the last 15 years in sports? It's because of that mentality. LeBron isn't appreciated not because of basketball in the end. He's not appreciated because he's a dick. Because think about it. Why is Freddie Freeman cool? Why is Mookie Betts cool? Why is Shohei cool? It's 2026. How come they're not assholes? How come they're not dicks? How come no one hates them? Well, because they don't do anything to hate them. They're nice people. And those who dislike what the Dodgers are doing has nothing to do with Freddie Freeman, Mookie Betts, or Shohei Ohtani. So that goes a long way in really getting down to the basics again. Is that if you don't do anything that warrants hate, then you're likely not going to get hate. And LeBron is a magnet to it because he's not a bad person, but he's a horrible celebrity, in my view. He's the celebrity that Mike Myers was towards the end of his heyday. You know about that, Gerald? You know about that, right? I didn't even know this, right? Like I started hearing stories like 10 years later after the Guru movie, right? What he was doing to people. And then Dana Carvey, whom I saw do a show. I thought he was I know people can fake it, but I saw a show and then, we saw him afterwards and I thought he was a very nice man. And when somebody who comes off like, and you don't hear anything bad about Dana Carvey about anything, when he's complaining about you, you're like, man, something's wrong. Like if somebody really, really disliked me, the first question I'm going to ask is, whoa, what the hell is going on here? Why do you hate me so much? What the hell did I do? Not get defensive and go, hey, what's your problem? Unfortunately, LeBron doesn't have that. LeBron is a defensive, narcissistic jerk. You could be narcissistic and still not be a jerk. I have friends of mine that are like that too. But LeBron is just not an endearing guy in the end, in terms of he's a jokester. He's got childlike kind of tendencies where you would think it would be cool, but he's also that guy that would, I always say, and this is the best analogy I can think, or best comparison I could ever think of, is he's the guy that would sneak onto the boat in front of the women and children on the Titanic. That's who he is. He would. That's how much he loves himself.
Get out of the way, Leo. I'm coming through. There
I'm
you
just
go.
saying that's how he comes off in the end. And that when you're like that, you're a public person, and then you're as good as he is in anything. Yeah, it's not going to be. People are going to normally snuff that out and say whatever. And we already know no one liked him when he came here. Dude, they were trying to put murals up all over town, and they were getting spray painted like immediately. You would think, and here's the irony in all this, Gerald. You would think a fake, entitled narcissist in LA would be championed, because that's exactly what the town is. Bunch of fake Botox, facelift fucking people, right?
I worked in the industry, so I cannot disagree with your
The irony in this is hilarious. That's the part. But it also explains also that the facade of LA is actually wrong. The heart of LA is actually not Hollywood.
It's very real. A lot of real people are there.
They are. And when I explain to people why they love Kobe so much, it's because most of the people in LA, and believe me, I know this because a lot of my guys are from LA, Long Beach, that work with me. Those guys are about working hard and showing up and doing a good job and doing, like that's what most people are. Most people are in that area, actually. And that's what they appreciated about Kobe. Kobe would have a high ankle sprain. Let me say that again. Kobe would have high ankle sprains, not a simple sprain, and show up the next day to work. How is that not endearing? How is that not respectful? How is that not honoring the money you make and the team who you play for? That's just what it is. So LeBron, alongside with Goody Two Shoes, but Greg Popovich, have been the face of the NBA for the last 15 years. And both of those guys have championed work management, load management, jerk off management. And look at where the league is in terms of its rep at the moment. It's not, I didn't do this, they did. So I'm just saying.
Before I give you a retort, and before we bring back on Legend here, I'm going to bring. Okay, there he is. Before I give Legend the question on Jeanie Buss's statements on CNBC, there's some real nice ones that I think that I want to run by you guys. Want to have you finish this up because Best League is disagreeing with what you're saying, Joe, on LeBron. I'm just going to say this, Best, and I've said this before multiple times on this show. I was a big LeBron supporter. I was very excited to see LeBron coming to Los Angeles. And I knew about the extra noise that he brings and the extra noise and the things that are detrimental to a team and an organization that he was doing, but not to a level extent. Yes, he doesn't get involved in legal troubles. He doesn't do anything as far as on a social level that's bad as far as I'm concerned. But all the noise, extra noise that he creates is something that he has done for quite some time. The decision to start off with, and then it seemingly with the advent of him coming to Los Angeles has devolved into something worse from there. And I grew less patient with it. I grew tired. I grew fatigued in trying to defend it here on the show. And especially when he did the hourglass tweet and wearing the New York Knicks stuff, as far as it's concerned, when they played the New York Knicks a couple seasons ago, these type of things really irritate me. Practicing in front of the old Clippers logo, right there, but actually warming up or stretching before he started the season. This season, the decision two, which was nothing but a farce, and it not only was a terrible way to sell alcohol, was just absolutely just a monumentally stupid decision on his part, and the things that he says and does, he does not need to say and do best. You have to understand this. If he just focused in on trying to be the best player he is and not try to make it a lot about himself, and it should be more about the team, we would be we could be in a better place, and I'll leave it at that. But Joe, I want to get your retort, because Besley going to give you a chance to retort. He said, Joe, these things are not true. No matter how many things I could throw at him, Best League is probably going to say it's not true. And I've come across these individuals before in our comments. I had a running commentary, I told you a few months ago, with somebody. I was at a Raiders game. It was like 3 days later, and he was still commenting, and I was still showing him up because of what happened with the decision too. I was on the air, and he didn't like it, and we went back and forth for days on it, and I won. But he said, Joe, these things are not true. I never heard of these things, or I watched anything you are talking about.
What
Joe.
things?
I'm assuming all the noise, all the other things he's said and done outside of
I never said
just
anything.
being one of the best players this game will.
I didn't give any details on what he said.
And I did, and I just did.
Look, I'm happy LeBron came. I'm still happy he's somewhat here. He's a great player. Still is.
Well, let me just say this, Best. When you're doing in front of Clippers, he is very cognizant when he sits with Nikola Jokic's agent exactly and takes a picture for Instagram. He knows exactly what he's doing. When he stretches out in front of a Clippers logo, he knows exactly what he's doing. It's irritating to no end.
He's not a Laker. That's probably what it is. People don't. He's a merc. He's a guy that came to up his brand. He didn't come to the Lakers to necessarily win for a lot of people. I don't give a shit in the end. If you're there for different reasons and you're winning, I don't care. If your priority is yeah. The problem in the end here is the allowance of nonsense around him, allowing somebody like Rich Paul, who's as delusional as he is sometimes about things, if not worse, because you would think this guy, not having all the pressure on him, would maybe smarten him up, but he's pretty stupid, actually. The fact that he said that Anthony Edwards is a better player than Jokic, right out of the gate, that would have been over at that point. I would have been like, I don't really think we need to talk anymore at this point. I think you're a buffoon. I know it's an opinion. It's, people are entitled to it, but to say that Anthony Edwards is anywhere near the talent of a Jokic is as stupid as it gets. Commenting about your guy's teammate who you're trying to win a championship with this year, regardless if they win it or not, they're trying to win it, right? Why would you say something like that? Who are you? And I don't know what Best League is talking about. I didn't say anything in detail about LeBron. I was actually talking about Will Chamberlain in detail because I was trying to use a comparison. So I don't know. Best League I think what happens with Best League sometimes is I think he's bipolar or tripolar or maybe quadruple polar. He goes into different phases of things and then he imagines stuff and then he posts. What do you mean you never heard of what? I don't even know what the hell you're talking about because I didn't say any details about LeBron.
But I just did, Joe. I just did. Again, it's been very hard for me to defend LeBron in recent years.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. In the end, it's about the results. Okay? If LeBron won 3 straight championships, we're not having this conversation. So is it about LeBron or is it about the results of the Lakers? That's the question you want to ask yourself. I don't give a shit about both. I care about the Lakers. So I was asked after LeBron won the 2020 title, I was asked, man, what if LeBron wins another championship? What if he wins more than Kobe? Like somebody said something like that. I go, so? I'm a Laker fan. If you came to me year one and said, LeBron's going to play 8 years and he's going to win 8 straight championships. Hell fucking yeah. God bless Kobe. Believe me when I say that. But I'm sorry, I'm a Laker fan. And the allegiance to a player is not something I can relate to. I identify with Kobe a billion times more than I'll ever identify with LeBron. But this is about the Lakers.
About the purple and gold.
This is about the Lakers. The Lakers, I was a fan before Kobe. I was a fan after Kobe, before LeBron, after LeBron. Doesn't matter what. I'm a Laker fan. And that's winning is all that matters in sports. I am not here to, in a lot of ways, if I'm not doing a podcast, I don't give a shit about these guys' personal stuff anyways. We talk about it because it's part of the shtick, right? But I don't care about what LeBron does outside. Now, if his people or he is a distraction to the Lakers to win, then you can say, what the fuck are you doing? Because it's correlating with focus and winning.
So with that, my friend, let me bring it back to Legend. And this is, of course, the Snack Pack right here for the Lakers Fast Break. It's Gerald Glassford, Legend from I Got Next Sports Media, and the experiment himself, Joe Soro. DBSH, awesome. Truly appreciate the $10 super chat right there for you. Thank you again, my friend. Wanted to go ahead and truly appreciate everything that you do. Yo, Daniel Berry Sports Highlights right there on YouTube. Want to go ahead and ask you this, though, Legend, when it comes to the conversation that the interview from on CNBC with Jeanie Buss. I'm going to pick parts and pieces of it here over the next little bit, but the one I want to most, the one that I think that is the most tantalizing for us here on this show to go ahead and target. When asked about Rob Pelinka, she was asked about a bunch of things. She's there to sell tequila and talked about Michael Jordan. That was great enough. But she talked about the team, the sale, her siblings, Luka Doncic, LeBron James, the final year, all that stuff. But when it came to Rob Pelinka, here you go. Here's the words, Joe, that might make you cringe when I'm saying it to Legend. She called Rob Pelinka a great strategist, end quote. He pulled off one of the biggest trades in NBA history last year. He continues to add more pieces to this roster of players that fit in. He continues to improve the roster. And having the resources that Mark Walter will bring will, I think, springboard everything that he's been working on and make this team even more exciting than they are now. Now, again, Joe and I and you have talked about the excitement about the resources that Mark Walter will bring to this organization. That's not in... We're not denying that at all. But Rob Pelinka being called a great strategist, because I will bring up LeBron's comments on Mind the Game, where he kind of takes a shot on Rob and kind of maybe disputing that a little bit as well, Legend.
Yeah, because I don't know what she's saying. Maybe this is a situation where this why you don't work with people you're very close to as friends like that, because it's blinding you a little bit on what's really right in front of you. I mean, I'll give him credit for the Luka thing, and you got Luka here. You flip AD, who is basically falling apart, into a younger, more superstar version. I give him that part. I can't ignore what you did on all the other stuff too. I can't ignore that part. And it's just no way. I get it. It's the media. You don't want to bash the man on the media. I get that part. But come on, Jeanie. Come on. We all know the truth. You don't have to lie that bad. It's okay. I think even Rob would probably in the back laughing, saying, good and well, I ain't that good. You know that. I'm all right. So it's like we gonna act like everything else ain't happened. The whole Russell Westbrook and who did all the other decisions from 13 to 18, all when all that happened to, no.
I can't say I disagree with you on that, Joe. I want to bring it to you. What Legend was said, I agree with. She called Rob Pelinka, quote, a great strategist. Yes, he pulled off one of the biggest trades in NBA history last year, but he continues to add more pieces to this roster of players that fit in. He continues to improve this roster. And having the resources that Mark Walter will bring will, I think, springboard everything that he's been working on and make this team even more exciting than they are now. So, did you throw up in your mouth when she called him?
I don't. I'm used to hyperbole like that from the Mike Tomlin backers. Unfortunately, you're never going to win that argument because the results say so. So I feel that this is the best hat that's ever existed. Drip Show.
There you go.
Now
Drip Show Shop on Instagram and Twitter.
Can't change my opinion, right? Can't change Jeannie's opinion on Rob. But then there's somebody out there that's going to say, I hate the Dodgers. F your hat. It's not the best hat ever because I'm a Giants fan or I'm a Red Sox fan, right? I'm putting it lightly there, but when someone, and this is a lesson for all of you to learn here, in case you guys are not as observant as some, when someone tries to use a fancy word to describe inadequacy, they usually talk like that and say, he's a great strategist. I remember hearing Mike Tomlin, he speaks really well to players. Speaks really well to players. Okay. That's like saying, oh, so you took your kids to school. You're a good dad. I am? Isn't that what you're supposed to do? So this goes back to what I'm talking about. Because of the allowance of idiot, moron, untalented, ugly inside, not outside, ugly things have been given a forum in this last 10 years or so from social media, culture, whatever. We've allowed morons to make mediocrity mean something. And that's why we're here. We are calling people great who aren't doing shit. He orchestrated the greatest trade in NBA history last year. So explain to me, Gerald, if I came to you and you said, Joe, I'm getting a divorce. I need to get rid of this Forerunner. And you just had it only a couple of years and you bought it brand new, but you got to get rid of it because you don't want your ex-wife to have it. Blah, 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 blah. You know where I'm going with this, right? By the way, this is not happening as in a scenario. I'm just using it as a scenario.
A what if?
What if? For those of you who know a few divorced people, the divorce usually will make you do things that you normally wouldn't do. Mind you, selling your house for less than you want, car, whatever. You got to get rid of shit. Hell, that's how Dr. Buss got the Lakers. Because Jack Kent Cook needed to pay off his ex-wife. So salute to Mrs. Cook. We all need to say a little bit of a Hail Mary, light a candle at church for that woman, by the way. Anyway, so Gerald calls me because we're friends and he probably knows I could probably help him out. Joe, I got to get rid of this thing. Fuck this bitch. I don't want her to have this car. I'd rather have you have it and not do anything. Totally get it. Totally. I've been around guys that have been like that. Not Gerald. I'm just using this as a scenario. Gerald's not like that. So anyways, because you never know with these best leagues and fucking guys will go off somewhere and start thinking it's real. So now I'm like, Gerald, I don't really need a Forerunner. Look, man, please help me. Okay. I'll take it for 12. Good. Here. I only owed 11.8. Good. Thank you. I got a couple $100. It's out of my hair. Okay. So this deal happens, right, Gerald? Now, what are you going to say if you have a couple people that are, let's say, other friends of ours that are looking at this? So now, am I the genius that got this deal done, Gerald? Or are you a guy that basically gave it to me in a silver platter? I didn't call you up and say, hey, Gerald, would you take 12,000? No. You called me. You gave me the deal. I'd be an idiot not to make the deal. You know why? Because that car's worth 18. That's what happened with Luka. And as far as Anthony Davis is concerned, you think Anthony Davis comes to LA without LeBron? You think LeBron comes to LA without Magic sitting outside his gate at 11:59? Joe, you're not giving Rob any credit. Fuck Rob Pelinka. He didn't do shit. He hasn't done shit. It's called building a team. He got LeBron in there. They got Anthony Davis and they got Luka because it's the Lakers. Because everyone wants to come to the Lakers. Because everyone wants to deal with the Lakers at some point. You know how I know, Gerald? Mm-hmm. Look at the results of the history. I just mentioned how many guys already. LeBron, Shaq.
I'm going to give Rob a sliver of credit because of the fact he was able to negotiate only one first-round pick.
Fine.
And AR wasn't involved in the deal.
Fine. I'm being considerate. He probably got, like I said, he probably got the right amount of printing paper and the right paper clips that worked for the deal. He got the amenities done. He made a good dessert. He's got really good skills to get a good appetizer in there. Good. But as far as I'm concerned, it's more than just transactions on this team. It's a mindset. I don't like Rob Pelinka from what I've seen. And I didn't like him the moment I saw him speak. I'm not talking about the Fab Five stuff during the 30 for 30. I'm talking about that press conference with KCP. Since that press conference, I have not liked him.
Again, you talk about the resume, and the resume is something that, will follow him everywhere. His decisions that he's made throughout this decade mainly will determine whether or not you consider him a great strategist or not. But I certainly don't, and I don't think Joe does either. But I do want to mention, as far as, she made those comments about Rob.
Guys who are good strategists, guys who are good at their job don't hide, Gerald. Mm-hmm. Jeanie might be like her dad, but she's not in any way, in my view, like her dad. I don't think it may be in terms of their personal type decisions. I don't think it was necessarily professional for her to be banging the head coach of her team. I thought that was out of that at the time. I didn't think of it that way, but as time goes on, you start to wonder what the mindset of these things are. I'm not a big fan of these type of things. I'm not. Maybe call me a prude, call me conservative, but why do you think you look at the Boston Celtics? God help me. I'm sitting here complimenting the Boston Celtics the last week. What happened to Ime Udoka when he was dipping his pen in other people's ink? They fired his ass. We don't do that here. This is a professional setting. We don't have time for drama. And look what's going on with that moron, that fucking idiot, MLBPA, Mr. Clark, and his stupid ass Santa Claus beard. See, people always laugh when I talk about people's hair and their facial stuff and their tattoos and their bullshit. Guys, a lot of times, if you're in the business, you don't necessarily have to be in a business like mine to do this. It's important in life in general because you avoid problems, you avoid bad relationships, you avoid bad drama that might occur. How you keep yourself, how you present yourself does matter. I'm not saying you got to be fake. I don't want to say that you're a hippie and you have to dress in a suit to do things. I would say my answer to that is always, well, maybe this isn't the right job for you if you want to dress up like a hippie. But I don't like LeBron outside of basketball. I don't like Rob Pelinka because there's an aura of fakeness that I don't like. Jeanie is a bad decision maker in terms of just everyday type stuff. She's just a normal person. She doesn't have, to me, any talent that would be like extraordinary. She would never own a team unless her dad owned it. Never. She would never be in charge of a team unless she was greased in nepotism. And then you have guys like Kurt Rambis, who, in my view, has earned a spot there because he was a former player and he was a contributor. That one has a little bit more weight to it, maybe. But then again, Linda was also there at the beginning, right? That was her friend. I get that. But I have best friends too, Gerald. I'm not putting them in high pressure situations in my business either. There's a separation.
Well, we'll talk about as far as the golden parachutes and then what's relating to that.
It's
here in a little bit.
In the end, I will say this. In the end, I don't really particularly feel comfortable with Rob Pelinka. I don't feel comfortable with LeBron James. However, Jeanie Buss, I appreciate a few things that she's done greatly. Number one, she tried her best to honor her father. That is a beautiful thing to be, because I believe in that. I still make decisions in my life to this day based off what my father would think and my mother would think, and they're not even here. I had to honor them. So that part I really love about her. I really, really do. I really, really respect it. And I have to respect, you have to respect her for selling to Mark Walter. That to me proved that she did love the Lakers that much.
And then she did outline that in that interview.
There's no doubt that those two things in the end probably are the separators to the bad for me.
She mentioned the resources that he could bring, that she can give. That
it's
she
not just the resources. Steve Cohen has resources.
Well, she mentioned the success of the Dodgers.
Right. But the thing is, right. And the thing is, the success of the Dodgers, there's a little bit of confusion with the normal moron out there. The Mark Walter Group is not just money. There's a energy that they just have that's different. You don't see it in powerful men like this. These guys really care about giving back to the fans. Friedman, Mark Walter, Stan Kasten, Brandon Gomes, even the players, like these guys really give a shit about returning the damn favor to the fans. It's not normal for billionaires that can tap into $350 billion at any time and to give a shit about a bunch of fucking people that are paying $20, $30, $40, $50, $500 for a ticket. This is not normal. She sold it not only to someone who's capable, but someone who actually gives a shit. And rich billionaires who give a shit are as rare as a blue blue lobster. It's so in the end, Jeanie should be celebrated. I'm going to celebrate her. In the end, she did the two things that I have to give her props to, because it's two things one I believe in 100%. The other is, my God, she could have sold to Kroenke, and Kroenke's not a bad guy. I hear he's a good man too, and he wins. He's won on every level, right? Soccer, hockey, baseball. He's won in all places. But her selling her father's team, whom he wanted them to run everything, to the best possible person is, to me, a huge win, and we're all going to benefit in the end. And I think a lot of that has played in the factor that maybe I haven't been as hard on LeBron as much this year. I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that because I think I'm feeling the end here, and I don't want to kick LeBron in the back while he leaves. I think that's too much because he did bring a title to LA. The Lakers were winning 21 and 17 games before he got here. You have to give the guy props. We saw some amazing games in that time. I still miss Anthony Davis to some degree, because I really respect Anthony Davis. I think he's a good player and he's a good dude, regardless of his issues. It is what it is. Sometimes that's how it is. But I think in the end, I never got a feeling of discontent with Anthony Davis. I think it's some people that's who they are. If he's one of those guys that doesn't want to light the world on fire, okay, well, I can't make you do that. Well, at least he was a multiple All-Star as a Laker. He won a championship. He was an All-NBA player. He was very entertaining to watch. I mean, not everybody's going to be Kobe, guys, and that's never going to happen anyways. No one is ever going to be like what Michael and Kobe. We're never going to see that again. I don't think we're ever going to see that again. I think those guys are the longer we go here in society, the easier people are getting it, and the harder it is going to get somebody that can manipulate their own minds to think that they got to go prove something. Now I'm making $50 million a year. I don't give a shit. So we got to play with what we can get.
So adding on to that, we talked about what Jeanie thinks of Rob Pelinka. I wanted to add something on there and bounce over to what LeBron said on his Mind the Game podcast with Steve Nash. And I'll add into, because he was having a conversation about what the Lakers look like for the rest of the season. He said, quote, "And it's kind of been like that for the last few years with our team. We haven't been set up to the point where we have a lot of room for error. For us to be a top 6 seed in the West, it's pretty damn good under the situation that we have been." He mentioned injuries. That's the situation they've been in this year. But we've got to keep going because the situation in the West changes every day. But when he puts in there, we haven't been set up to the point where we have a lot of room for error, I don't think that same strategist comment LeBron would agree with in assessing Rob Pelinka. And I think that when he put that in there, that was targeted towards Rob Pelinka. Agree? Disagree?
Yeah, this is all bullshit pleasantries. And this is why I could never be in a corporate setting and be a professional.
But you can't, not even with Michael Jordan and Jeanie Buss coming up with the new tequila brand?
Is that having to do with basketball?
They have a Lakers special bottle. It's for her new and Michael Jordan's new tequila.
With all due respect to Michael and Jeanie and their business ventures, I couldn't give two shits about what they're selling outside the Lakers. Honestly, I cannot express how much I don't give a shit. It's hard. It's hard to say those words because, again, I've said this so many times. So most people, when they say they don't give a shit, they do. But I can honestly say I do not give a damn at all. Like, I just don't care. I care about the 2.5 hours I invest 82 times a year. Well, this year it's going to be 81. Playoffs and our show. We spend a lot of time focused on the Lakers. That's enough. I don't need to worry about what Jeanie does in her bedroom, in her bar, in her what she thinks about Rob. Like, this is the part where I start to get kind of like, why do we give a shit what she thinks about anything? I don't. That's not Laker related.
Well, that's
what is this infatuation? What is this infatuation with people's personal stuff? What is it? Is your life that boring?
But that's the premise of the show, Joe, is with her selling the team to Mark Walter and with LeBron possibly on the way out, do we as Lakers fans really care or should care what they have to say? Now, I preface that with something that she mentioned here. She indicated she was asked to stay on as governor, saying that that's what I agreed to. Mark Walter and I are very comfortable with the way things are set up, and I expect things to go on and be successful. And I am not going anywhere. Well, I say that with the fact that we also got the announcement that Tim Harris, the president of business operations and the guy who is credited with setting up the sweet Lakers, not for us who pay for it, by the way, the Lakers Sportsnet deal. He is the guy who headed that deal up and is credited with that. And he's been there back since the Forum days. He announced on Tuesday that he is leaving at the end of the season. So whether you want to say the rats are leaving the sinking ship or what have you, however you want to phrase it, I'm going to say this. I won't feel bad for him because, Joe, he also got a golden parachute, a Kobe payment. I don't know if it's 8 or 24, but he also got a Kobe payment as well.
No. Tim Harris is in a lot of ways similar to John Black, who was a longtime PR guy for the Lakers.
He's always been thought of in good.
No. Tim Harris did his job very well. He was good for the Lakers. John Black was another guy that got jettisoned due to the transfer of.
But do you think he's seeing the writing on the wall and heading out?
Well, it's not any different than Ned Colletti being eased away from his duties as general manager of the Dodgers before Andrew Friedman came in. Ned Colletti was an amazing GM. It's different. We've said this how many times on the show, Gerald? This whole JJ Redick and this whole management and this guys. When you're a multi-billion-dollar business and you've been very successful, and you've also on top of that been successful in another sporting venture, you're going to do things your way and you're going to get the people you want, regardless of how good they are there now.
Joe McCormick, who was part of that, he's the vice president of finance and the CFO. He's been thought of in good context for the organization for quite some time, but seeing how he was tied into that recent Baxter Holmes story and the fact that he also got a golden parachute with the Kobe fund. I mean, some of the, whether you like them or don't like them, whether you think they've done a great job or not, I think a lot of people are going to be leaving this.
I don't know I know the basics of the Tim Harris tenure. I knew the John Black tenure.
I heard McCormick is really good, has been really good.
I'm sure he is. Again, I don't know enough. We don't have enough pub on that. But I do know that deal they made for Time Warner was a major contributor in helping the Lakers become profitable.
It's part of the reason why they were valuated at $10 billion.
Now, with all due respect to Geeter and Bresnahan, I like obviously I will always love James Worthy and Robert Horry and those guys. But honestly, there's a distinct difference between the Dodger presentation on their show versus the Lakers. I think it's too jolly for me. And it's weird saying that because Jerry Hairston Jr. is such a Dodger homer, but there's substance there too. Maybe it's easier for them to do normal stuff because it's an everyday thing. I don't know.
They have more content than the Lakers.
Correct. And I just feel like they execute the job a little bit better. I think Allie Clifton, the only negative with Allie Clifton is she's a LeBron homer. I don't know if she's going to be there that long once he's gone. I think she was just there to be the supporter,
but the Laker deal to create Access Sportsnet, to create that deal and the Lakers channel, essentially, that was the instigator for like the Dodgers deal, and any major deal that's done can directly tie itself to that Lakers sports.
Correct. And every deal that was connected to that was connected due to Dr. Buss's prime ticket deal in the 80s.
Yep.
This is a Dr. Buss creation because at the time, people used to think if we show this on TV, no one's coming to the game. And Dr. Buss, being the genius he was, which he probably didn't even consider it being genius, it was common sense. He goes, how about we broadcast every game? Well, Dr. Buss, no one's going to come to the games. He goes, we can only fit 18,000 people approximately in the forum. That means we're leaving How many people in LA that are Laker fans that could watch it on TV? How much money in advertisement? So all this stuff started with Dr. Buss's forward-thinking process, common sense thinking, saying, we got to put these guys on TV. There's still going to be 18,000 people coming. How about we have another 1 million people watching it locally? Here comes Prime Ticket. And then that set the stage for the regional distribution stuff. And then down the road became one of the best deals. I still remember hearing about that deal. I'm like, what are they paying? How much? So 20 years, $3 billion? What?
And it was funny because I've heard shows where they compare that to, let's say, Memphis, who has one of the worst deals, the local TV deals that's out there. And it's like, it's pennies onto pennies, not even pennies to $1, Joe, pennies to $100 compared to as far as the Lakers deals.
It's very difficult. It's very difficult to understand what they were thinking moving a team to Memphis. This is the part that's going to hurt a lot of people. Not really, but we may be just a couple of schmucks on a podcast, but there are a lot more dumb people in bigger positions than you think. The first question I would have asked myself is, why are we going to Memphis? What's going to happen in Memphis?
And it doesn't look like it's going to change.
Their deal is going to end in 2029, by the way, Gerald. And there's going to be a vote here for expansion.
But they're not
which is stupid.
Silver said no relocation as of now is on the card.
Yeah, it's just this doesn't seem like bad decisions have consequences anymore.
Again, I'm just.
I don't feel like there is.
Silver said.
Yeah, I don't think there's. I just don't think there's any consequences to bad decision making. It looks like the NBA, as bad as they've been here the last 5 years, due to the fact that they've allowed parity to come into it. Think about it. This is a discussion I've had already in the last few days with my guy Jeff. I said, have you noticed the NBA started getting shitty when every other year was a different champion? How good were the ratings when Golden State and Cleveland were in the finals every year? The ratings started to go up again. No. You let mediocrity and you let the mediocre decide your fate, and now you have a pretty shitty product that people don't want to watch, but does it matter because you got the gambling scumbags? Is that how you want to be? Is that really what you want? You want this to be about gambling? Sounds like it. Oh, it's because money. Okay, go ahead. Have your. So having $5 billion is not enough. We got to have $6 billion, right? At the expense of making the game much more pathetic. Oh, we need less games. Sure, let's think about that for a second. And then he adds more games, more useless games. By the way, a play-in, a stupid ass tournament in the middle of the year. For what? And then on top of that, you have LeBron, and this is the part where LeBron deserves everything he gets. You have the face of the league, who's still the face of the league, crying about playing time when he's making $52 million a year. That's not a real leader, folks. LeBron is not a good leader. Never was.
I love the fact that he always complained about the play-in, yet he
went to the playoffs because of the play-in twice. If he hadn't had the play-in, he would have missed the playoff twice. And that's see, have you noticed, if you follow LeBron's career, every time he said something stupid, he got saved by the thing he hated. That's why people don't like LeBron at the end of it. Now, people are going to dislike you anyways. They don't like Patrick Mahomes. They, as in people who have gotten tired of watching Patrick Mahomes win a lot, right? That's not the same as disliking LeBron. The reasons why they don't like Patrick Mahomes is completely different than why they don't like LeBron James. Patrick Mahomes didn't do shit to anybody. Okay, he's not at some nightclub being a jerk off. He's not, from what I heard, I've never heard anything bad about him. I think he's a relatively nice guy. But because he's a winner and he's a constant winner, and you're always there. What happens after a while is they start to then nitpick and go, oh, well, the only reason why he's winning is because the refs are helping him. They did that with Tom Brady before that. And then I always laugh because I always have to bring this up. Roger Goodell got tired of that narrative probably. Now, I can't prove it, but he ended up suspending him for 4 games for the Deflategate. Oh, see, guys, I suspended. You don't think Magic and Bird were catered to? You don't think Jordan was catered to by the look? The stars get catered to, folks, because that's what helps ratings and stuff. Like that part matters. But it's unfortunate. I did like the 65 game rule. I thought that was a good rule. But it doesn't look like these guys care about all NBA or MVPs anymore.
Best, I don't know what pipe you're smoking, but in the NBA Cup, the 2 finals teams, they play an extra game. Doesn't count in as far as the records, doesn't count as far as stats or anything.
It's like why do you continue?
Yeah, they don't get one less game. They don't
half the time when you're here.
If you remember, the Lakers actually played 83 games the year that they won the NBA Cup. The one of them didn't count. That was the one that they won here in Las Vegas. So again, gonna have to correct you on that, Best League. They don't play one less game because of it down the road. They don't get a makeup for it. That's the idea. They're playing for cash money for themselves and their teammates. That's all it is. It's a cash grab. And it's something that hopefully will spike up interest during a part of the season where normally a lot of casual fans don't look at. That's what the NBA Cup is supposed to do. And it's had some, decent success here and there. But again, it is an extra game for the 2 finalists on that. So I don't know where you're getting this. Though they make it up down the road. No, they don't. They play 83 games. The Lakers play that extra game and they felt it the next 2, 3, almost a month. They felt that extra game for a while because they played at such a high level, because it gets so intense when they play in these NBA Cup games, and which is great as far as the competition is concerned, but they did feel it as far as and just have to take a look at the performance the next couple weeks after that. So again, they play an extra game. That's what the NBA Cup is all about. But it is, of course, the Lakers Fast Break. It is, of course, a snack pack right here for you. But we did mention again, I think that it is now not as important what LeBron says, not as important what Jeanie says to Lakers fans, because we're in a new situation. She is no longer the majority owner. She is no longer the governor. And he is no longer the marquee player on the Lakers, Joe. Again, as she said it best herself, the team is now focused on building around Luka Doncic in that CNBC interview. And he knows it. LeBron knows it. Everyone knows it. And I think that's what we have to focus on going forward is, everybody seems to admit she was asked whether or not it was gap year. And her words in that CNBC interview, was this a transition year? She was asked. And she said, for so many different reasons, yes, absolutely. LeBron understands that, this is a gap year. He even said, for what we've gone through, this is he feels pretty good of on where they're at. So with that said, my friend, you know what they're saying is from 2 people who will probably no longer be a part of the organization in the coming years down the line. I don't know when she's leaving. She said she was asked to stay on. She was asked as governor, but I don't think she's serving out her entire tenure for 5 years. LeBron could be gone as soon as this summer. So again, what they have to say does not hold as much weight as it once did.
I don't think there's much to discuss. It's common sense now. It doesn't matter what they say.
By the way, Lakers slow break. He said you'd like to purchase your company, Joe. Simblades with y.com. The last valuation, I believe, was right around what the Lakers are worth at $10 billion. So get your check ready. That's all I'll say. Don't you love these mock accounts that mock us? You've made it somewhere when you get these mock accounts. No, Bill.
change
the M to a B, and maybe Joe will listen.
I'm just in complete. I don't understand. It's not. I don't feel like it's that hard to figure this out.
Best, you're on crack.
But
no,
then
the
that's
NBA
why
game does not count.
best league is the most. He reminds me of my friend John. My friend John is one of those guys that we have honey, Jack, and Coke night. We'll hang out. His wife's there. I have other friends there. And then I'll be talking about sports hats. And then the next question he'll say is, yeah, but what about pants? And I'm like, what are you talking about? What about pants? I'm like, I'm talking about hats. What do you mean pants? That's best league. That's best league. Random nonsense. With
NBA Cup games the championship game does not count.
A team or teams can play up to 85 games before the real playoffs start. 2 play-ins, and if you go to the championship game in the tournament, that's 85 games. The answer that Silver created to there's too many games is he added 3 extra games, possible games for teams. That's what he did. That was his answer to helping these guys. And I have the answer. I just don't know if logistically is an issue. I don't know. I've never made a schedule. But if you look at the 80s, let's say specifically 1984, you'll look at that and you'll see the Lakers played the Golden State Warriors 6 times. They played the Kansas City Kings when they were in Kansas City at that time before they moved to Sacramento 6 times. You see a theme here, Gerald? Okay, so now you're going to expand the league, which, okay, let's placate it. They're going to expand the league. Now you're going to have 4 teams per division, 4 divisions per conference. It evens out. How about we do this now? How about they play 18 games in their division throughout the year? That takes care of, at the very least, 6. Now you're taking care of 1/4 of the schedule in a nice small area, because it's likely going to be Lakers, Clippers, Sacramento, and Golden State. Correct? Would you say that's probably going to be the 4? Sounds right. So now you got 1 hour flight, and then next door, 6 times between LA and the Bay Area and Northern California. Let's say Northern California. That's a lot of games that you're not having to venture out. That's 1/4 of the year almost where you're not leaving that area, home or road. That's how you get rid of the jet lag and all that, because these guys are pussies, right? They're a bunch of fucking wanksters, bunch of babies making $50 million, but they can't train themselves to play 82 games of basketball. They can't play basketball anymore for 4 days a week. They're blaming AAU ball like AAU started 15 years ago. Gerald, how long has AAU been in basketball? I think since before I was born.
Yeah.
So what do you mean blaming AAU? What do you mean blame? I even heard an excuse. Well, kids are not playing other sports where they use different muscles now. Okay, let's say that's true. But aren't we in 2026, Gerald? Don't we have all these gurus online that are jerking off on everyone every 5 minutes, telling us what we should eat, what we should work out, and this is what works, this is what doesn't work? Don't you think when you have 20, 30, 50 billion dollars, don't you think you'd find those people, the real ones, to prepare your body more? Or are these guys too busy hanging out with Paul George and whomever, going out and getting skanks and chicken wings? What is it? Sounds like a bunch of excuses, a bunch of fucking weak-ass bitches. That's what it sounds like.
JY, to answer your question on Silver's contract, I just looked it up. It says throughout the rest of the decade is his extension. And I do believe every time he does get an extension or gets a contract period.
Hey, is best league, you think best league is Rodell? He sounds like Rodell.
They could be one and the same. Who
Best
knows?
league. Are you Rodell? Rodell does that, where he'll randomly fuck with us to piss us off.
But again, look it up, Google it. As far as the NBA Cup, is the NBA Cup final game count, as a game? And it will tell you the NBA Cup's games do. The NBA Cup final does not. It's just that simple. It's a Google question. It's what it's there for. I use Bing, but you can use Google as well. But I also Googled, aka Binged, as far as Adam Silver. He looks like JY that he's extended through the rest of the decade. But his extensions, I believe, also always have to be approved by the rest of the owners as well, which they made it. We can complain about Adam Silver and all the other commissioners that all we want as far as the other sports. But if you're making the money, which Silver has, then I guess that's really what counts. The new TV contract should keep them happy for a little while. Roger, Bing does not if you earn the points on it. So it's got me 2+ free years of Xbox Game Pass. So can't say it sucks, but it's up to you guys. Again, you guys are Googles, that's fine. Do it for free. I get paid for it from Bing. But again, it is, of course, the Lakers Fast Break. It is Gerald Glassford along with Joe Sorrell. Before we head on out, my friend, I want to add one more little thing in there. Of course, we can always talk about other things as well. But, of course, the game as well on Friday, the Lakers and the Clippers. Please go ahead and check us out for the post game. As always, we'll be back at it. I do have a Lakers Latest that's coming to the Lakers Latest channel tomorrow as well, where I talk more about Tim Harris. Actually, I would talk more about Tim Harris, LeBron James, all that good stuff as well. So go ahead and check that out when that pops up as well. But before we head on out, Jeremy said that the All-Star weekend was drama filled. And I was like puzzled why he said that, because it actually looked pretty smooth. People liked the 3-point, unanimously liked the 3-point contest. They hated the slam dunk contest because they didn't even know any of the players in it. Of course, we knew Jackson Hayes was in it, but that's beside the point. They didn't even know the guy who won it. They universally liked the format as far as it's concerned of the USA versus the world of Team Stars, Team Stripes, Team World. As far as it's concerned, it garnered a significant improvement in ratings, even though it was at 2 p.m. our time. Again, just why would you put that in the middle of the afternoon? But hey, I think you can't argue with 9 million people watching. So with that, I want to go ahead and ask, he said it was drama filled because of what Kevin Durant was doing. And it seems like a certain segment of social media is focusing on this. I'm not, I haven't been, I couldn't care less, because this is something that Kevin Durant's been doing for a while. Burner accounts. We know that the Philadelphia, Colangelo, remember when he had the burner account as well. But with Kevin Durant and the burner account, I guess he's going off on other players. It doesn't seem like it's bothering you too much, and it doesn't seem like it's bothering me much as well. I mean, I guess Devin Booker he was going after, and some other players, teammates.
Who's following Durant in his, who's somebody got his VPN and following him with it or something?
Yep. Apparently.
I don't give a fuck. I don't care about Kevin Durant and what he does in his free time. Why does anyone give a shit? Seriously, you guys, this world is so dumb. Who cares? Why do you care? The All-Star game, no one hardly even went to the All-Star game. That place used to be packed.
No, they were there, Joe. It's the lighting in that building. Don't trust the lighting in that
building. The lighting. I should have thought about
those lights. I'm serious. Those lights
made them disappear. I got you. I understand now.
There was a crowd there. It was over 16,000, 15,000 announced.
And the light made half the arena disappear. That's pretty amazing.
Again, I'm telling you, it's the lighting. They are there. All right. I'm not going to argue with you on this.
Great. That's great.
Everybody talks about that.
I can't say how much I appreciate you putting putting that to light.
I can just tell you almost 16,000.
You've enlightened me, Gerald.
I will just say this as far as
who in Inglewood, by the way, you know Inglewood better than anybody. Who in Inglewood's paying $2,500 for a seat up there, anyways?
Not me, that's for sure. But again, with the $85 parking, it stopped me at the $85 parking. That is just that's incomprehensible to me. I will not pay $85 for parking in and around there. I understand it's Inglewood, but there are places you can park. The Sizzler right there on the corner, or some other places that you can park that are substantially cheaper than $85 right next to the Intuit Dome. Arcarino, I just want to mention the NBA already has agreements with NBA Africa and NBA Europe. They're even talking about maybe developing NBA Europe even more into its own league, et cetera, et cetera. They've got their foothold in those areas, and I would equate that to as close as I could to Japan and the Dominican Republic for MLB to answer your question. But that was a really good question. Good question, Arcarino. But because he was asking about a equivalent to that, and that's the best I could come up with is NBA Africa and NBA Europe for that, Joe. So, but yeah, I don't think anybody. We don't really care what's going on with Bernie. Whether or not they go ahead and discipline it, and they might. But he can go ahead and say what he wants about other teams. I mean, LeBron James just went off on, as far as the trade deadline, what he thought about the various big trades, and he could really talk about other players on his podcast. So I don't know how much you can really do, Joe, about that. I mean, if it's not a team executive or a coach, they can literally say what they want as players.
Yeah, when you're talented like Durant, you could do whatever you want. You could probably slap a child in the middle of the court.
It seems petty. It seems very. I mean, even LeBron doesn't do that. Get on a burner account and do those things like he's done and accused him in the past. So, that's a
Kevin Durant. Nothing. The worst thing Kevin Durant did was leaving Oklahoma City. It turned him into Serena Williams. After a while, they became what happens to a lot of dictators in the world is when they're in power too long, the outside noise finally starts to melt their brain. And you noticed the deterioration between Kevin Durant and Serena Williams. You could see it. You could see how they were a certain way and then they went away. Kobe was this jolly player until Colorado, and then he turned into a vicious maniac. He was still sort of a maniac, very into what he was doing, but
he had a mean streak, but that was basically because of his competitiveness out there.
Right, but he became he used that as fuel and put it into something, whereas Kevin Durant and Serena Williams, unfortunately, Serena Williams does what many females do and start screwing up her face. And then Durant just started becoming a bitch online. It's like, why do you give a shit what these people think? And why did you leave Oklahoma City if you were going to worry about this? I don't get it. I don't get how you can be in this business as long as you are and it still affects you. If it affects you that much where you got to go on a fake account. And my first question would be who the fuck is following me? And how dumb are you? If you're going to have a fake burner account, you've made what, $500 million already? You don't think you can have somebody hiding your shit? Is it even true? I don't even know if it's true. And the fact that I'm talking about this right now is bothering me.
I don't even care, honestly. He could call out anybody he wants. Kyrie, Luka. I don't care.
A man doesn't speak in codes. A real man does not speak in codes, doesn't hide behind shit. You tell it to their face. Joey Porter got a lot of shit this last couple of weeks about him talking about Ben Roethlisberger not being a leader. It's true. It is true.
Remember
So-
that Brian Colangelo. I just wanted to mention that was the burner account originally of the executive that led to his downfall. Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, it's true. And then he said some other things that might not be completely true. That happens. Not everything is 100%er. And then you got now the family back and forth. James Harrison's talking. Marquise Pouncey's coming out of nowhere supporting his. Of course, he's going to support his quarterback. But Marquise Pouncey shouldn't be talking either. This is a guy that wore Free Hernandez hats with his brother. Can't do that. You got to keep
people wanted us to talk about this. That's why we're.
The point is, at least he came out. He didn't hide behind a fucking burner account or some bullshit code. He came out and did what he did. And half the stuff he said was right, and the other half is debatable. He's a human being, but at least he came out, didn't hide behind a mic. He spoke into the mic.
I mean, he's calling out Devin Booker. I don't care. Honestly,
It doesn't look good for him, too. Devin Booker is being lauded by his teammates right now and management. And look how well they're playing. How do you look now? How does that look? He didn't leave. He didn't run. He stayed. Kevin, when everyone around him was like, dude, Devin, you got to go ask for a trade. Nope. He stayed. It makes sense. It makes sense. He learned probably from Kobe. He was a big Kobe guy, right? But then again, Kyrie Irving moved around, so that doesn't mean much. But point is, you can't criticize someone that's being respected and lauded by everyone around him in that organization, and then you're the only one shitting on him. Now I'm going to ask, why are you the only one shitting on him? Why didn't he leave? If anybody was warranted, was him, right? After the horrible decision to get Bradley Beal. And then Durant, all Durant had to do was go in to Presti's office and say, listen, man, I want you to invite Russell Westbrook in here. And we're going to talk after losing to Golden State in 2016. And then
for Booker it really helped because he got those 2 extra years at 170. He's going to be a $70+ million player at the end of his career.
Right. Now, if he was a man with some balls, he'd be like, I don't think this is going to work.
Or his contract, I should say.
So, Sam, I'm going to sign a contract with you guys, but I don't think Russell and I are compatible at this point. I think there's some issues here. So, whomever you want to trade first, you trade. And we know damn well they would have traded Russell Westbrook.
Mm-hmm.
So, that could have now solved that problem. He could have stayed in Oklahoma City, did what he did, not been a whining bitch to the rest of his career. Nick T, my assessment on Hall of Fame is much harsher than what has. Go ahead.
For the audio audience, Nick T asks, what do you think, Joe, of Eli Manning?
Yes. Eli Manning was the rare lightning struck twice person in the world. Sometimes people get lucky twice. There are people out there that have won the lottery twice. That was Eli Manning. He is not a Hall of Famer to me. If Jim Plunkett isn't in the Hall of Fame, Eli Manning doesn't belong in the Hall of Fame, despite the fact that he has 2 Super Bowl MVPs. He was not good beyond those 2 years. However, he's probably going to get in.
Yeah, he probably is. Again, I wouldn't vote against it, but I don't think he's a Hall of Famer, but I wouldn't vote against it. Again, I wouldn't bet against it. I should say I wouldn't bet against it.
The Hall of Fame has become a popularity contest. It's a business, obviously, for a lot of these people.
He'll get in. I don't think he deserves it, but he'll get in.
To me, I'm sorry, but not everyone is supposed. I don't like 4 or 5 guys going to the Hall of Fame every year. I think it's a dumb rule. I think it's a dumb act. If it means 0 one year, it means 0. If it's 1, if it's 2, it's got to be clear that you are a Hall of Famer. What is clear? Well, Drew Brees is a Hall of Famer. Big Ben is a Hall of Famer. Troy Polamalu is a Hall of Famer. LaDainian Tomlinson is a Hall of Famer. Like, quick. Rob Gronkowski is a Hall of Famer, arguably the greatest tight end of all time. Travis Kelce's a Hall of Famer. Patrick Mahomes is a Hall of Famer. Like, it's got to be quick. It's got to be quick. Unless you run into a problem with like an Antonio Brown. If Antonio Brown did not go shitbag, that man was the baddest receiver I have ever seen since Randy Moss in his prime. And Randy Moss is a better receiver than Antonio Brown, but that's because of his physical abilities. Because he's 6'4" and can run like a deer. That's the separation. But back to separation, I have never seen anyone separate from the cornerback, from his man, better than Antonio Brown, other than maybe Jerry Rice. And I think they're even. It's freakish when you would watch that man separate. I'm talking about in practice. I'm talking about joking around. He was so ridiculously just alien in terms of his separation. That's why he was so damn good. Unless it's something like that, there was a lot of talk about Michael Irvin when he was up for the Hall of Fame. They finally put him in there because he's a little bitch like that, and they were able to, make everybody happy. I guess Aikman and Emmitt Smith really. I'm not a big Michael Irvin fan, and I know that Troy Aikman is I respect Troy Aikman. If he likes Michael Irvin, then I'll give him. I'll kind of let it be what it is. But it's got to be something like that to say no at this point. But it's not. There's too many guys getting in, and they're going to put Mike Tomlin into the Hall of Fame, which is just. I didn't think Bill Cowher coached enough to be in the Hall of Fame. Tony Dungy should not have been in the Hall of Fame. I know he was a pioneer for the black coach. I get it. But this performance still has to matter. And he was Rex Gross. He was a Rex. Did I lose Gerald?
DivX is asking you if Calvin Johnson you don't think he was awesome.
Oh no. Calvin Johnson is
okay. DivX
was awesome.
He's already floating you the stats. It's like
no. Awesome. Calvin is great. Calvin is great. Problem with Calvin, unfortunately, was he was always hurt.
Okay.
That kind of docks him a little bit, but at his peak, he was as good as anyone, obviously. Yeah. But I'd still take Antonio Brown over Calvin. Julio Jones will be in the Hall of Fame. Calvin is in the Hall of Fame now, right?
I believe he is.
Yeah.
He was a first-year inductee.
Yeah, Julio Jones will be in the Hall of Fame. I'm trying to think who else has retired recently. Yeah.
But of course, it is the Lakers fast break. I knew you had to get an NFL question in there, guys. No worries. Again, great to have you here. Stefan said Calvin has got to get points for playing at an all-time garbage organization for his whole career.
Yeah, the fact that he was able to do what he did, I know he had Matt Stafford for most of it. That helped him. But, guys like him, guys like Andre Johnson, they played on bad teams, and they were still able to be great. And that's why they are where they are.
Well, guys, it's been great having you here as part of what we're doing right here at the Lakers Fast Break with a snack pack. We thought we'd tie you over. Tough was going into withdrawals, Joe, for you had no Lakers action and no Lakers Fast Break. So he was going into withdrawals. So I'm glad we could go ahead and get him his fix. Right there. Check out my NBA conversation, my NBA observations with Caleb Ponce. I hope to add at least one more before the week is up. I was trying for 3, but got one cancels on me. So I'm at least going to try and get another one here before the season starts back up. So hopefully you guys will have that. But Joe, Nick T says Percy Harvin.
No,
I don't. That's not like Joe says. That does not.
It's got to be like this, guys. And that's, if you have to ask, you aren't. Sorry. And there's a lot of Lake Steeler guys that got in that I would say I probably would not have put in Is he a Hall of Famer? No. It's got to be like this.
And Stefan, yes, check out our part of our conversation earlier when we discussed Rob Pelinka and the comments that were made by Jeanie Buss on the CNBC interview and LeBron James' retort on his own Mind the Games podcast on that, and our thoughts as well on it. So we had a little bit to say.
Our thoughts and prayers. That's the beautiful thing that's coming, guys. This is the beauty of this. You know what you hear in the Dodger world when it comes to people who run that business? You hear Freddie Freeman, you hear Shohei, you hear Mookie Betts talking about three-peats and championships and cool things. And then when they interview Brandon Gomes and they interview Andrew Friedman, they interview Sandcast every now and then, here and there, you'll see them. You're hearing nothing but even Mark Walter, like when they interviewed him right after the win in Toronto, he's like he's like us. He's like, man, we were really lucky on this one. And I was like, dude, there's no other way you could have put that. It was quick and easy. Like, man, we got lucky on this one. And we did. We were lucky. I counted, honestly, Gerald, 12. It might be more. 12 times in that entire series where the Blue Jays should have won. And I'm talking game 3 to game 6 to game 7. They had no shot in game 2. Yamamoto was on point. So I'll give them that. They had game 1. They had game 1. They had game 4 and game 5. Those were easy. Between 3, 6, and 7, there were 12 instances in those games. And there's probably more. I just counted 12 and I gave up after that. Where they would have won if they had just sneezed a little different. It's just nuts. That's what made it as great as the 91, the 97, the 01, the 16, the 2019 World Series were, all those 7-game epics. I can honestly say that since I've watched almost everything now, and I'm trying to not show my Dodger goggles too, I'm really being honest with myself. I don't think there was ever a World Series where we saw things this close, back and forth. I don't think we've ever had it.
I forgot to mention, left.
See, Best League had to put in one last dumb shit comment.
See, that again, we're all.
Thanks, Rodell, number 2. Appreciate it.
Yes,
just call yourself Rodell number 2, and then we'll at least know who you are.
I forgot to mention Left's question for you. Again, this will be the last one we tackle for tonight because he asked earlier, so I'm going to stay on the air for him. And his question I left on for us. He said, the Ox, how do organizations fail? What are the first signs leadership is crumbling? And where did it all go wrong for Jeanie Buss? I don't think Plaxico Burress is a Hall of Famer. No.
Where did it all go wrong? When Dr. Buss relinquished his power.
So what are the first signs of that leadership is crumbling?
First signs is lack of talent. I don't know what to believe when I hear things, but let's say the news was there in terms of, let's say Jim Buss took over the team, right? After Dr. Buss, and then Jeanie was in charge, quote unquote, in deciding whatever. Jim Buss's infatuation with Andrew Bynum being the next star of the Lakers, which was asinine from the beginning. Number one, he was never going to be a star for the Lakers, as good as he was. Let's say in 2012 when he was an all-star, he never was going to be that Laker great. It wasn't hard to figure out, but seemed to be pretty a stubborn guy. When you put your interest in front of the team, and Jeanie didn't necessarily do that, but she allowed certain things to fester around that, hiring her friends. In the end, bringing in Rob Pelinka because he's tied to Kobe. I'm not going to hire people because I want to feel comfortable. I want to hire people because I want to feel uncomfortable. When you hire yes men, there's a bad result in the end, Gerald. Charles Barkley doesn't have a relationship with Michael Jordan because he called him out on that. I don't know that's true. Maybe it is. Maybe Jordan does like yes men around him. I don't know. Doesn't sound like Michael. But maybe that's just how it kind of comes about. I'm sure the Elon Musk people are the same way, right, Gerald? I'm pretty sure those guys all kiss his ass. He could light a child on fire and they'll be like, yeah, great. Let's get some marshmallows because and that's the part that I always say, you got to be careful who you are. You got to be careful who you work with. If people are going to blindly support all this stuff going on with this Epstein stuff, all this was because of the rich trying to hang out with the rich and trying to be connected. Folks, I know networking is important. I know knowing the right people is important to advance, believe me, but it can't be at the expense of your ethics. If you allow it, then you're no different. And a matter of fact, you're worse because you fake it and still do it. Whereas most of these people don't fake it. So I don't we just this is not new. The patriarch who knew what he was doing shifts it over to the next generation. The next generation screws it up. That's what happened. It's not anything that hasn't happened a billion times. Sometimes you can get out of the first generation after. Sometimes you can get a good one, but not surprised when it's immediately bad. Usually the third generation. Don't they say the third generation one usually fucks it up really badly? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now, again, Jeanie, I think means well, but that's the point. Is I think she probably thinks too positively, and let's be optimistic. I don't work like that. I don't work like that. And in the end, how you treat the ones that really, really did stuff for you is really going to tell me a lot about you too. How you treated Jerry West was, from where I'm standing, unless Jerry West did something, but I would think it would have come out by now. I don't know. Did he swear your existence away and you got pissed? Okay, I guess I could understand that maybe to a degree, but I don't know. Do you see Jerry West telling Jeanie and the whole family, I hope you guys burn in hell or something like that? I don't know. That doesn't. I don't know. I don't see him doing something like that. Do you?
I wouldn't.
Treating him like that, and what's the irony in that is if you didn't do that, maybe Kawhi comes to the Lakers. Maybe Kawhi comes to the Lakers. I mean, Jerry saved your team how many times? Jerry got you Kobe twice. Twice. Not once. Twice. Kobe Bryant, because I believe Elgin Baylor, because there's no reason for Elgin Baylor to lie. There's no reason. When I heard this report, I said, there's no way in hell Elgin Baylor would have just made this up. Kobe committed to Elgin Baylor to go to the Clippers. Jerry talked Kobe out of it because he said, you cannot go play for that owner. And then Kobe changed his mind.
I'm just going to mention this when it comes to Ivica Zubac. Again, Mike F. and Muscala. God. Anyways, yes, there is the story that he shared Zubac on regarding the time where Kareem was mentoring him and Kareem wanted a spot on the Lakers coaching roster and apparently was denied after conversations with Magic Johnson, who again traded him for Mike F. and Muscala. So I will say this again, he is these stories about his time there with the Lakers and Los Angeles as a whole have come about. He's said a lot of things. He is a very angry man because the fact that, the way the Lakers traded him and dealt with him when he was there, and also as well, way he was treated by the Clippers. He had just had a child. The same day he has a child, his first child, he is traded away to Indiana. So he is a very angry man. And LeBron on his Mind the Game podcast talked about how a great deal it was for Indiana to get him and how he has extra incentive when playing the Lakers, because he said I think paraphrasing here, but he must really hate the Lakers because he plays so well against us. Paraphrasing what LeBron said about Zubac, and he's so huge and a massive guy, as far as he was talking about as well. So again, there's obvious. Los Angeles is not one of his favorite places. He also talked about his first check being cut in half by taxes. He said a lot of things. The poker game comments that he's made too are really fun as well. But yeah, Zubac is not a big fan of Southern California, especially for the way that he's been treated by both the Lakers and the Clippers organizations. So I can't say I blame him. And again, this all could have been prevented had Magic had a better talent evaluational skill, as far as it's concerned. So.
Yeah, it's sad. It's sad how this turned out, because one of the few guys in the last 10 years that you actually drafted well, who could still be with them, I guess. Would think about it for a second.
He'd be 28. He's 28 or 29 right now.
Who did the Lakers, and this is something to remember too, guys. This is a big part of this. The Lakers, I'd say, and it doesn't matter if they drafted these guys either. Think about it. Even if they drafted them and they let them go, it doesn't matter, right? Like at this point, free agents / drafts, only Austin Reeves is still here. So when they did draft well, they're still not here. So Mo Wagner's gone. Lonzo Ball ended up being a bust in my view. Brandon was an all-star. Zubac, obviously, is who he is. We're talking about the last 10 years. You want to know why the Lakers have had depth problems and not being able to compete? It's because they have not hit a single time on anything. Might be the best player they've drafted in the last 5 years. And I don't really think his skill set translates to winning. No, his skill set doesn't translate to winning at all. Think about it, Gerald. Adu this year, right? And then you have Dalton Connect, Bronny James. Then you have Jalen Hood-Schifino. Then you have Mojave King. Then you have Max Christie, the only guy they drafted that year in the second round. And then what? Isaiah Jackson, but that was to Indiana. Jaden McDaniels, that guy went to Minnesota. DeAndre Hunter, that guy ended up going to Atlanta. Mo Wagner was like, what? Okay, he might be good. He would be good. We had the Svi in the second round that year. Both guys are still playing in the NBA, but
yep.
So the Lakers have been horrible in getting even a single talented player in the draft the last 5 years, and then the last 10 years, the ones that they did draft well are not there. How are you supposed to build depth? How are you supposed to build a culture like this? So this is the problem. This is really the heart of the problem. And then the time that you do have these picks, you're picking Bronny James so that you can make a Hallmark movie. We're here to play basketball. We're not here to fucking make a Disney tale.
And he wanted to play in the NBA. That's why he got moved to the second round, because he was considered at the bottom half of the first round.
I want to know something, Gerald. I want to know this. I want to know who picked. Who was really in charge of these picks? I want to know that. Is anybody going to find out for me?
Well, the thing, though, with him, Ivica Zubac, was the fact that he wanted to play right away. Most of the teams at the back end of the first round wanted to draft him, but they wanted to draft him as a draft and stash, because draft and stash back then, when he got picked, was still popular amongst the teams in the league to save salary cap space. He wanted to come in right away. So that's how he slipped to the second round, and the Lakers wanted to draft him. But yeah, to be traded away a talent like that, who is already starting to get 20-point games, 20-point double-doubles on occasion when he was given playing time as a Laker, and to trade him away like that for Mike effing Muscala is just something. Again, Magic, one of the best players of all time, one of the great passers of all time, one of the great point guards of all time. A businessman off the court, he's made hundreds of millions of dollars. No one can take that away from him. But as a coach, as a GM, as a talk show host, yeah, it's not been good. Not been good. I did want to mention to Arcarino, the LFB store that we have advertised in the past is closed. Joe has LFB merchandise on right now. We're going to be designing a new store, in the process of doing that. But if you really want to have something custom made with the Lakers Fast Break logo on it, or Lakers Fast Break, name and stuff like that, like, it's on some of the stuff that I've got here behind me, like the 2 canvas art. You might want to check with @TripShowShop on Instagram and Twitter. But I am going to be running some stuff here, some special events. I know that as far as him, and also as far as what we're doing with some other stuff, as far as getting in with some Lakers fast break promo stuff. So we're looking forward. Maybe even running some contests here soon. So that'll be something I'm looking forward to for you guys out there. So Joe, again, just great to have you here. Again, any last thoughts before we head on out?
No, I'm good.
Okay. All right. Well, 2 hours in, hopefully we gave you your fix for Lakers Fast Break until Friday post game. I will also be dropping an NBA observations if all goes well. I'm going to be talking to someone that covers the Utah Jazz from far away, but he has been a great source as far as talking about the Utah Jazz and the NBA. So hopefully I will get that for you on tomorrow to give you that interim buffer as well. Yes, that's actually, yeah, we had a shop that had LFB merchandise like that for that, and also as well I had a custom shirt designed as well that I occasionally wear. Actually, tough bought it. I had one made for him. He paid for it and had one sent out. So again, we're gonna do something like that. I think obviously the size of the show, the size of the channel matters on that. If we were 10,000, 20,000 strong on subs, I think that would probably be something easier for us to attain to. But we'll go ahead and bring up another merchandise store here in the not too distant future for you guys. We'll come up with something, I'm sure. Joe Sorrell is on the experiment. He had his show recently as far as covering the Dodgers and the Lakers. So go ahead and check that out on his channel. Again, I had NBA observations there, and also my Lakers latest. Every morning, I bring to you guys Lakers latest on the Lake Fan Arc Network. Hopefully, you guys catch that. Little quick Lakers bites to get your day started. So hopefully, you catch that as well. But for Joe Sorrell, it's Gerald Glassford. Thanks again for watching, listening. We'll be back on Friday after the Lakers and Clippers. Ivica Zubac's probably 2 least favorite teams right now in the world, but they'll be going at it. We'll be going at it as far as our post game is concerned, as always. The best in town, the best there is, and the best that there's covering the Lakers is nowhere else but right here at the Lakers Fast Break Podcast.
I feel like
yes, left. He does it because if your answer is because he's Joe Sorrell, that should account for pretty much anything when you guys are asking about Joe.
Yeah.
Something I've learned over the many years now.
Nice. Good that